going to quickly pass them for Ismoila. Your question is, no, I'm going to quickly, your question is, what is the biggest challenges and problems or questions your field in fashion needs to tackle right now? So especially you as a retailer, what is the biggest problem and challenges that you are currently facing, and how are you, or what do you think needs to be done to tackle those challenges?
Thank you. I'm going to focus on the question from the perspective of the two brands we run, Heritage Circle and Agbada. Number one issue we face are two things. One is utility, and it's very important that if you're in a fashion space or in the menswear, African menswear space, please pay attention to this. Utility is number one. Number two is quality. By utility, for what I do, which is dress African men who are in business and trendsetters, you've got to give them something they can wear. It has to be an item that has usefulness, in other words, within your closet. So if that's your field or that's your play, and you want to create for whether it's suits or whether it's pants, utility is the most important factor I find we struggle with. A lot of fashion designers are very creative, yes, but creativity when it comes to clothes and sales are completely two different things, right? People buy things they need unless it's disposable income, period, right? That's first of all. Secondly, it's quality, right? I mean, it looks great. The picture looks great. I double tapped it, but when it comes and it arrives, do I like it? If I stretch it a bit, is it going to last, right? Two things, quality and utility. Those are the things we struggle with. So my thought is that, at least for the industry to help, I guess, make it better, one is, we talked about this in the waiting room, having institutions that actually cater to training people the right way, right? But then on the flip side, when it comes to utility, having fashion designers understand that in a man's wardrobe, from my experience, utility is the most important asset.
So when you mention utility, because having clothes that people want to wear, does it have to be boring?
Absolutely not, right? So there you go. Like, you could have a shirt on, right, that has perhaps fabric print and something exciting. You have to speak your personality through the way you dress. But there are certain limits you wouldn't cross, right? Especially, for example, a Nigerian man, right?
Yes, that's a topic, the Nigerian man. But the Nigerian man is very, very conservative. Like, it's hard to get a Nigerian man to literally think outside of the box and try something new. It might not be, because I think maybe we have so many social norms surrounding the constraint of, is it hypermasculinity that the Nigerian man is subjected to? Yeah. So it's a situation whereby, as a Nigerian man, so how does one as a Nigerian man, like even with me, like if everyone that knows me, I'm jeans, trainers, and a t-shirt. This is, yes.
It's I guess
a lot.
It's it's a lot, especially for the Nigerian man. You have to, in some ways, push them to try something new. And flip side, I mean, the wives in their homes actually play an important role as to,
so is it
especially
to
when it comes
the
to
women.
That's one angle you could take, right? Having the ladies buy, when they buy a top or a shirt for his birthday present and he wears that, usually it's like, wow, this is different from what I put on before, but he's stretching it, right?
Okay.
I think, and the point I want to make about fashion designers creating utility is, it's not that you do not have to be creative, but you have to understand the boundaries to which, I guess, your audience is going to step into. And if you have a different audience, obviously, please be my guest. Go as freestyle as much as you want to, right? But if you want to, but in this market, Nigeria, I've discovered, if you want to close sales, if sales are your priority, give me utility, and men will spend, right? Sorry, last point, price, right? Price. This is also another big factor. You have designers starting today, coming into the industry with price points that are way out of the league of where you should be priced at.
I
right?
have seen that.
Thank you very much. You see Ankara shorts. Ankara shorts for 60, 70, 80, 90, $100.
I'm like, who are you?
And it's, I mean, I understand you aspire to be that brand. But not today. Not today, right? So I think those three things: quality, utility, and price point. And
talking about price. Now I'm going to touch on that because I think we've had that conversation. Yeah. All three of us have had that conversation, and this is a big one. Like, how dare you? Literally come in and
No. But let me tell you what. No. No. I think it's.
I feel like
no.
Some brands have been around for 70, 80, 100 years.
What you need to understand is that in order for that a brand to make money, there needs to be like a fast turnover. You need like someone like Zara, Topshop. You've got like what, thousands of people walking in there daily. We don't have that in Nigeria. You know, how many times is someone going to walk into a store in Nigeria, really? How many times are you actually going to go out there and buy those Ankara shorts? So for the Nigerian consumer, there needs to be more retail outlets in order for the prices to go down. Because that guy selling those Ankara shorts is only going to really make 3. And he brought the material for how much? And he's got his diesel to pay for, he's got his staff to pay. But then I also agree, yes, the prices are really high, but there's a logic behind it. But then there's also a logic on how to change things.
Okay.
How to kind of bring more brands in, make kind of retail spaces more cheaper so people can actually open stores and you can sell a pair of Ankara shorts should be only worth about 15K, 20K when you think about it.
It actually is not.
Oh.
No. Sorry.
More or less?
No. A pair of shorts, if you have more than 3K, come on.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, 60K from 3K
Unless
to
you're using
60K.
Blisco.
That's a big jump.
If you're not using Blisco, 3K.
I'm with her.
Come on, guys.
Tokyo's like 3K,
3K.
yes.
I'm like,
3,000.
even
3K, but that's no. So come on,
Sorry, did you say 3K? Did you say?
I don't sell anything within my brand for 3K.
Okay. I'm looking for trouble. Okay, I'm looking for trouble.
Okay, hold on, people. Hold on, people.
Okay, I'm looking for trouble, but here, come on, but.
All right, calm down. Calm down, guys.
All right, guys. No. I've looked for trouble. All right, let's be fair.
Okay,
let's
guys,
be
hold
fair.
on.
6K, but. But here's the question I have. Bottom line is, look, I tell everybody now, you know what? It's your business. We don't know what they have to go through. We don't know what they're dealing with. We don't know the expenses they have, and we don't know why they've priced it that high. What I've said is, you know what? At some point for these designers, they get to understand they're going to sink or they're going to fly.
Of course.
A lot of you selling at 60K, unfortunately, will sink. That is the God honest truth. Because literally, nobody's going to buy it. There has to be something to it. To be quite honest, I tell people, for clothes to be priced that high, Ankara shorts, it means I need to put it in my closet, and I wake up in the morning and I say, come, jump on. I need to jump on. Otherwise, and then when I get home in the evening, I'm like, wash. Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah. Okay. But for what I was going to say, for the men's, I have a question for you guys, right? Yeah, I find that there's no, you're talking about men not wanting that, you're calling them conservative, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I have seen, and I'm talking as a retailer and as a consumer as well, is I've seen, all right, the ultra-conservative suits, trad, what, yes? And then Tokyo, I've seen your clothes. So Lord your Jesus. Shirts, it's mesh. If I take a mesh shirt to my husband at home, he's going to say, honey, how far? Where? You guys need to have that. There must be a bridge of some sort. You know, there's a middle ground. Plus, there's no imagery as well. Like I hardly see like any male models, any campaigns out there with literally, you know, like new ways for guys, new clothes. I have the conservative and then I have Tokyo.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Say something?
Okay, I'm going to...
I think when it comes to, I guess, being creative with the clothes that you do make and also the price point, I think a big factor in terms of what makes it sell or not sell is styling, right? Who's wearing it and what are the pictures the person is being taken? Ebuka can put on, give him any suit to put on. Guys in here will want that suit tomorrow. You know, why? Because he put it on. He commands authority. Right, so I think for designers who are up and coming, a big part of it also is you've got to seek out the influencers who are authentic and who could authentically wear your product and make it sell, right? Again, who are authentic, right? They have a strong following. We touched on that point. And who can sell it in a way that it happens almost naturally. I'll give you an example with Agbada.com. we are very careful as to who we consider influencers or not influencers, because everybody wears an agbada. But what makes a guy an influencer is that if he wears it, I'm interested in wearing one on the daily, right? Debola Lagos, for example. Does anybody know Debola Lagos? He wears it like a religion, right? So if you ever needed like a guy who would be your true ambassador for an agbada, no matter the price point, give it to him, right? He was selling agbada that was made for 15K, also one that was made for 200K. Authenticity, right? So the point was styling, sorry, right? you get the right person to wear it. The person speaks about it authentically. You could really price up the wazoo.
I'm going to come to my defense, personally. It's also down to your own markets, like who you have. I think every designer has a customer in mind. Every designer has who they're targeting and which market they see themselves in. So I have friends that are Nigerian designers, but they sell a lot of their clothes in Korea. And I'm just like, but it doesn't speak to Nigerian women, but the Koreans are just lapping it up. I'm just like, oh, okay. And it's the same thing with as a menswear designer. So even with me, I make clothes. What I want to see on, I always use the alpha male with an edge. That's the statement that I make. So someone that is hyper masculine, but also likes a bit of style and funking it up with what he likes to do. So the alpha male with an edge, if he wore it, like I promise you, as Ismoila said, if Ebuka wore a mesh top, I promise you half of Lagos will start wearing a mesh top too. It's that simple. But it's, as we said, it's who you target. So, and I found a lot of people that speak to my brand, that come to my brand, are from the abroad. So, so it's them that but Nigerians come to my brand too. I think they're warming up. I've not been in the market as long, but I think people are starting to warm up to, okay, who is this Tokyo James, I guess. But at this junction, we are going to ask you guys, whoever has any questions, to please raise their hand up. And, oh, wow. The floor is open.
Start from here.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I have a question for all three of you, actually, but I'm going to ask first to Auntie Isioma, like Tokyo said. Okay, so you have an outlet that, you know, it has all the brands like, you know, Lisa, Folawiyo, you know, Deola Sego, and all of that. But do you guys cater to like the young and upcoming fashion designers? Do you guys take in their brands? Do you guys, you know, push their stuff out there? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, let me rephrase the question. My question is now, do you guys have Nigerian clothings by Nigerian, you know, fashion designers and brands that cater to the young people? Do you understand?
Have you ever been to a Grey Velvet?
No, I haven't.
That's why you're asking the question.
Yes.
Because we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do. We do. And we take on a lot of emerging designers. To be quite honest, all the designers you see now, like someone like Ejiro Emastafari, when she started with me, she was emerging. And now she's a big one. So we do. Okay, and we do have clothes for people like you too.
That's great. That's good. Thank you. My other question is for the veteran. So, sorry. Okay, yeah, I know you're a menswear, you know, brand or design. Can I ask how do your clothes cater to women? Like, if I was supposed to come into your shop and say, okay, I want to buy this jacket because I can wear it and it's going to suit me.
You're more than welcome to.
Okay.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to. In fact,
would it suit me? Like, would it be something that a woman can wear and something like a man can also wear that looks, you know?
Understood. So Heritage Circle as a shopping experience online is primarily for men, right? Yeah. And we're very careful as to the curation we bring on there because these are men who, like I said, utility is the key point. Will they wear it, right? Will it sell? We have to make money, right? On your side, we also then have a shop for her category within the site, which for men who want to buy items for their significant other, they can buy into that there. But if a woman comes on board and she sees an item that she feels would look good on her, she's more than welcome to. It's up to her to style it the right way, right? But as far as curation, we make sure we do a good job for what a man would love. Does that help? Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, I have a question for you. How can Nigerian fashion brands remain competitive within this global industry or within the global industry, particularly within this global age? Do you get me? Anybody?
What, okay, first of all, I'm one of those who tends to ask, when people use this word global, I think that you just throw it out. Global is the world. I tell you for free about me, I don't talk global because I've not even captured Lagos. No, so it's the truth. I mean, because I think we all just have it as a discussion and it's kind of funky to put it in there, but it's a lot to say you want to be global. If you haven't even fully captured Lagos, Ibadan, Enugu, and Kano, and Nigeria, and then you're talking Ghana, Sierra Leone, all the countries in Africa, and then we cross the water. I mean, it's so, to be quite honest, I don't tend to engage in those discussions, and I tell people I'm sorry, but I don't. But in terms of being anywhere, global, local, or whatever, you literally, as a brand, whether you're in fashion or in motoring or whatever, you have to decide who you are and understand who you are, and do everything you can to keep that space. It's entirely up to you. You have to keep evolving. You have to pay attention to your competitors. I mean, they have, to be honest, they have courses on this, but it's entirely up to you if you want to stay in it. But you have to figure out how. You have to be competitive. I mean, there's so many different elements. If we want to go into that, I think that's a whole day. That's a whole day's job. But there are lots of things you need to do. As a brand, for instance, now in Nigeria, I tell people, what makes your brand stand out? What do you stand for? I find a lot of people now copying each other. So everybody has the cold shoulder dress. And everybody has the, funky V-neck jumpsuit. If you're doing that, and all of you are shopping in Balogun, how are you standing out? You have to figure out how. You're either going to decide, okay, mine are probably going to be a bit edgier, and they should know that I do that. Do you know what I mean? I'm one of those. So my slit doesn't stop here. My V stops here. And everybody will know, okay, she does really sexy clothes, and that's what she stands for. Are you going to be the brand that is cheap? So, okay, no, none of my things are going to be above 5K. Or none of my things are going to be above 10. I find a lot of people now like, oh, I want my things to be cheap, and everything is, I want to kind of stay in the space of 15K. And I'm telling everybody I meet says that. So all of you are already boxing yourselves out of the market. Everybody's saying that, literally. So what do you stand for? Because that is what will keep your brand alive. Who are you? Why are you there? Who are the people you're trying to attract? Who are the customers you're trying to keep? How do you keep them? And once you constantly do that, because that's what every other brand in the world has done to date, and then you work, you stay alive.
Sharmaine,
does that answer your question?
I mean, yes. It's a no-brainer, really. You don't always have to follow the trend. There's one of my talents, she's in here, Irene. Are you here? Yeah, she's over. So Irene, so for instance, in terms of what Auntie was saying, Irene's a tall girl. And one day she just realized that, you know what, I'm traveling, I'm getting on the plane, I want to wear something comfortable. But it was hard to find like leggings for the taller woman, a nice, loose t-shirt. So what did she do? She started up her own brand for tall women. And it's a very successful brand, whereas she didn't ever think, oh no, how many tall women out there are going to buy my brand, or are people going to understand it, or I don't know, the percentage of tall women is not that much. No, she went for it. And it's a successful brand. It's sold on ASOS. It was sold in Selfridges. It's been sold in America. So you've got to find that niche. Don't always follow that trend. I walk around Lagos now and everyone's wearing that long, flowy jacket, or everyone's wearing like the pajama set, or everything's kind of waterfall. Designers started a trend and it came from somewhere. The same trend that you're following, that designer sat at home and thought about it. They didn't think to themselves, no one else is wearing that, it won't work. No. Trends came from somewhere. So try and be original. Think outside the box. You like it. someone else might not like it, but 20 other people might like it. So just, you know, give yourself a chance and just, yeah, think outside the box, really.
Can we have one more question? Just one more.
Hello everyone. My question goes to Isioma and Isioma.
To who?
To Isioma, yeah. So, talking about authenticity of your products and the price points to put on them. Now, most people actually think that, or I for one, mostly think that to create good pieces of like clothes and fabrics also, like getting the fabrics as well, it's important, like good fabrics and all that. And most of these good fabrics actually cost money. Yeah. So factoring all that and production as well, what's the logical price point, like a price margin to put on your clothes?
Okay, so what are you asking? What is the proper markup?
Yeah, she's
proper
basically saying
markup.
if you buy something, what would you
So
then
it
sell it
doesn't
for?
go overboard for, okay.
So
like
again, it
95
depends.
shop or something.
It depends on what your brand is and what you've defined it to be. So let me give you a typical example. In Grey Velvet, we have my own brand, which is called AC Brown. AC Brown is everything that is Isioma. Isioma is actually quite dressed up today. I don't do this, literally. I wear big, baggy, black clothes, really formless clothing, and I make things kind of just for me, or I make simple pieces that Isioma likes. And that's what I continuously churn out. I love, I guess, patterned fabric to a certain extent, but it must be striking, it must have something with it, or it's white, or it's black, literally. That's all I do. And I actually found that, all right, there are people like me who like it. I also decided I'm not high-end. So for instance, Grey Velvet is not a luxury store, and my brand is not luxury either. So I have a cap. All my things, I mean, to be quite honest, they're between 18K and 55. And I do that because I know that my own customer is in that age. My customer's age is between like 25 and 50, to be quite honest. Actually, more like 60, to be quite honest. And I know that that's what they can afford. So I churn out what they can afford. I churn out pieces they like and pieces they can afford. I don't take anything past 50K because I'm like, why? I don't need to do that. Because I'm thinking about me. That's how I shop as well. If I'm shopping, I decide, all right, so I need to get like, maybe I'll just play. I want to get like 3 dresses. I think to myself, okay, I can buy 3 dresses at 150K, and that's it. I won't even consider buying a dress now at 120K because I'm like, why? I'm not going anywhere. I don't wear them, so no, I won't. So I just think to myself, she's me. She has to be me. And what I want to buy, what I want to pay, what I want to look like is what I create. So in terms of your markup, it's entirely up to you. You do the costing on your own. Typically, we have markups ranging from 2 to 20. Do you understand? So it's pretty much what you decide.
It's always good in terms of a markup for you to always have it in your head how much you want to sell the product for. So if you want to sell a product at 50K, you kind of need to work backwards. So if you're selling it at 50K, but you brought the fabric at, I don't know, 2,000 Naira, but then you've got a worker that's working on that product. Maybe they took light that day, so you've got diesel. So it kind of has to make sense. So you can sell it at 50K if your kind of cost price and your finished product stopped at like 20K, you're making a good profit, you're making a good margin. So I always say to people, start off at what you want to sell it for and then work backwards.
I was going to say, I mean, Nigerian nuance in perspective, people will price, right? How much is that, 40? Would you take 30, right, 25? So factor that into your math, right? Okay, and make sure you have your walkaway price. Where, I mean, look at the market woman who sells tomato in the market. She has a walkaway price. There's a certain price you call away, she'll be like, get out of here, like, not gonna happen, right? So have your walkaway price, so you know that because you might be desperate for cash, you might feel like you want to make the sale, but make sure because if they buy it at that lower price, they'll come back for the same price. You can't change that. So you have to be very confident in the price you pick as your walkaway price.
I don't do walkaway. All right, so if we say if it's 10K, it's 10K, madam. You don't. So it's you know what I mean.
You know what your brand is worth, basically.
It works. And so people come into the store and say, "Can I have a discount?" No. No, do you know what I mean? No. In Ikeja, it was very funny. When we opened up in Ikeja, it was the weirdest thing. People would come in and be like, "Oh, it's so expensive. Oh my God!" And this thing is 15K. Hey, it's expensive. We literally, me and my girls would be like, "Madam, hey, yeah, we're so sorry. This Wrangler, It's opposite. It's right there. Mr. Price is the other way. Not trying to be rude or anything, but look, you need to, if you set your standards and this is what you want, this is what you are, don't let anybody take it down for you. Most people panic and but people won't buy and people won't do this. So guess what? They will. If you stick with it, they will. If you feel you have too much stock that's piled up, then of course, maybe then offer like a discounted price on those goods. So do a sale or something if you can. Again, bearing in mind what she said. So let me give a lot of, how many of you people are fashion students here? So you've bought fabric and okay, so typical fabric, basic cheap fabric in the market now, polyester is what? Like 600K, 600 naira a yard, right? About, okay. A typical dress, what, 2 yards? Right? 3 yards? All right, so that's 1,800 naira. Tag on zippers, buttons, whatever, that's what, 1,900, right? Okay, let's round it up to 2. How much is it costing to make it? 3K? Okay, so that's what, 5K. So this dress to make is 5K, 6K, right? So it's up to you. If you want to mark off of 3, is you sell it for 18K. Now, if it turns out that you can't sell it over a period of time, and give it time, I tell people always give things time. Don't panic if it's not sold in a month. Yes, you might be stretched for cash, but if you are, that's another story. You need to have a business plan, so you need to know how much time you have and how much money. You have to have enough money in that time, just in case you're not making any sales or whatever. You have to be able to sustain your business. That's another story. But keep it there. And if after maybe like 2 months, you find that sales are a bit slow, then you hit it, then you do a discount. At this point, bear in mind, remember like what she said, this dress only costs 6K to make. So quite frankly, yeah, you can take 10% off. You can take 20% off and you're still good. So most people don't realize that that's what it is. But like she said, price backwards. I mean, we start at the top. We just know there's no dress. There's no dress we make. Oh, God, trade secrets here. All right. So there's no dress we're making with our brands that costs more than 5K to make. Not one. Not one. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. I know, and they're going to kill me. Oh, God. This dress retails at 130. It's 5K. Yeah. And we all know this, so do you know what I mean? Oh, you didn't know?
But hold on, guys. She may say it's 5K, but you spend a lot of money on marketing.
No, but guess what? No, so guess what?
Marketing budget is separate.
My marketing budget is separate. And quite frankly, so costing is another matter. If we're talking finance, that's a different matter.
But that dress, the sale of that dress, as much as your marketing budget is separate, but the marketing budget needs to reflect in the sale of that dress.
But it is, for me, it's part of my 5K.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's been planned into your critical path for the whole year.
Yes, for us, it's not just a marketing budget. It's on my rent. It's everything else. It's in that dress. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Fantastic.
Do you people really feel that Dolce & Gabbana suit that cost $10,000 was $10,000 to make?
Hell no.
I'm going to stop her there because you're sharing
industry secrets.
But it's true. But people need to know the truth, because when you think about it, what you're literally paying for. But you're only paying for the label that's stuck in it. I've worked in factories where I used to work for a sunglasses manufacturer, and I used to manufacture for like Bench, Karen Millen, and I'd walk into that factory and I'd have to sign an NDA. So that means that there are other brands. So my Topshop sunglasses, which they're selling in Topshop for like what, £10? I'm looking at Caroline Herrera. I'm looking at D&G. It's all produced under the same roof. The only difference is that the consumer doesn't know that. And the only thing that you're paying for is the name, because the quality is the same. The quality is this. The only difference is that Topshop will order probably 20,000 pieces, which means their cost price goes down. Whereas D&G are only really going to order, 1,000? And that's worldwide.
Yeah. And
so, you guys,
Okay, so, yeah.
Sorry.
If any of you come to me, my suit is my suit. End of story. I will block you straight up. We are going to move on. So, the next question. So, has the digital age, this is for you, Sharmaine, has the digital age made entry barriers into the fashion industry become more accessible? And how can we make the fashion industry more inclusive?
I mean, I think it is already how fashion is. It is very inclusive at the moment, and that's that's due to kind of social media and people being able to play around a bit more and the consumer being more open to like new trends. For instance, as we were just talking about, how many years ago would you have produced a mesh top for men and think that men would wear that? In terms of social media, I mean, it makes things a bit difficult at the entry level for kind of someone that's on social media and someone that has a store. Because if my brand's on social media, I have no overheads. The only overheads I have are producing my product and maybe staff. But really and truly, I don't need staff. I can do it all myself. So I always say to people when they are starting up a new brand, don't think that, oh, I need to buy a store. Like Nigerians have this whole, oh, I need a store, I need a store, I need a store. Why? Why do you need a store? Because, you know, you want that big space where people are going to walk in and be like, oh, my God, wow. But that person that's saying wow is not going to be sitting down at home with you when you're sweating, thinking about how much money you've wasted. There are big brands on social media that have started off on Instagram. And I mean, no website, orders are placed via DM, you place your order, it's sent out, posted, packaging, done. So don't always think that you need to start big. Start small. Start off on social media or build like a small website which has like 2 pages where the consumer can buy the product and there's like a customer service section. Simple. Keep that for like 2 years. If you've turned over money and you've made a profit, then move on to bricks and mortar. I mean, when you think about it, you've got ASOS as seen on screen. It's on your screen. You can't walk into an ASOS store. And that company's been going for how long?
Hot minute.
Exactly. No, well, a very long time. They're in every region, and I don't think they even have any plans to have any stores. ASOS do the same. They're online. Farfetch are online. You've got a lot of these big kind of retailers, online retailers that are doing very well, and they stock their own brands, they stock high-end brands, they stock entry-level brands, and they're all very successful.
True. Ismoila, this is to you. Let's talk about collaborations between creatives. Now, in the fashion industry around the world, it's a big thing. Creatives collaborate a lot. Why is it not as prevalent in Nigeria compared to other parts of the world? Why do you think that?
It's not prevalent.
Pardon?
I think it's a question of there being, I guess, a relationship between both fashion brands or creatives that actually works, right? For example, I've seen work done with some designers here in Nigeria where they get shoes. Like, for example, I think you got shoes from a different brand, right? And I feel like where the aesthetic or the style makes sense, those collaborations would happen. And if it's not, unlikely to.
Sorry, can we...
But Sharmaine, if you have anything you want to share about this, please.
It's funny because I was 2 years ago, I was working with he's a British guy, but he's also worked with Kanye when Kanye started off his clothing range, etc. But this guy's really like fascinated. He's an English, because he's a Jewish guy, but he's really fascinated with like Nigeria, not even Africa, just Nigeria. He finds our designers like amazing. The prints are amazing. So we were having a meeting and he was like, look, I want to collaborate with a well-known Nigerian brand. I won't mention the person's name. They're a very well-known brand. I got in touch with them and he wanted to collaborate with them. So what he wanted to do, so this guy is known for his prints, but he actually paints all of his prints. He designs all of his prints. So he wanted to collaborate with this Nigerian brand and place his prints and images on a fabric, not for a whole range, maybe like a skirt and a top and a shawl, maybe just like 3 pieces. And I had a conference call with the Nigerian brand, and they didn't get it. And they kind of had that mindset where, oh, you've come to me, so you definitely need something. Whereas, why don't you look at the bigger picture? Look at the fact that you're a Nigerian brand, and you haven't actually come out of Nigeria. You've got this guy who is in Japan, he's in Italy, he's in the UK. So if he does that collaboration, that literally automatically pulls you out of Nigeria at no expense. And that's what I tried to explain to the person, and they were like, yeah, I mean, you know, we'll look into it, we'll see. Whereas you've got people like Versace who do collaborations with H&M. You know, you've got Karl Lagerfeld, H&M, or Off-White, Nike. Like, if these big brands can collaborate with retail, they're doing it for a reason, because there is that girl out there that wants to wear Off-White, or she wants to wear Versace, but she doesn't have the money. That's where H&M are smart. So they've tapped into that market thinking, do you know what? That girl wants to wear an Escada top. we're going to do a collaboration with Escada. A normal Escada top would be like £3,000, whereas H&M will sell it for £60. And every single designer collaboration H&M do, it sells out in hours. Online, done. You know, I'm one of those people. I've queued up round the block with my hot flask in my hand.
I think I've flown.
Yeah, so it gives you an idea of. Yeah, we need to open up our mind a bit more to those kind of collaborations.
No, I think the truth is, I mean, we're talking about the digital age. The one negative I found, and dealing with social media in particular, is we now have this thing where, oh, we're special. I'm shot the best. I am blessed. And yeah, nothing is standing in my way, and I am cool. You know, whether you like it or not, I am wonderful. And I'm like, it's such a lie. It is such a lie. You're only as wonderful as how much you're selling. So if you like, be feeling wonderful in your house, in your bed. Yeah, if you're really not going to expand, if you're not going to grow your business, you are not wonderful. You're wonderful with yourself. So to be quite honest, what she said, I've had many designers like that as well. Like you approach people and you're like, okay, let's do this collaboration. All they're thinking is, okay, but how much is it? And, you know, why?
It's like, oh, they came to me, so they need me. What am I going to gain out of it? It's a very bad mindset.
It's so bad. Yes. And what you young designers don't know is that it's affected us so much internationally. A lot of people, I mean, there's all this noise being made about Nigeria, and we're taking Africa to the world and whatnot. I ask people, please, how many brands are sold internationally? How many? For all this noise, please, let's take a look. How many brands are retailing in Selfridges? How many are in Saks?
And that's the thing. The Nigerian brands can only go into the high-end retailers, Saks and Selfridges. And then it goes back to what we were discussing before. The prices are crazy. I sat down with a Nigerian brand who sell an outfit for it was like 1 million. So if you want me to take that to the UK, you've now got to add freight onto that.
Yes.
When you're now going to Selfridges, you've got to pay for a concession space to even be in there. If you convert, what's more 1 million naira in pounds? I mean,
2,000, 3,000
who
pounds?
is buying a Nigerian brand for £2,000 when you can turn around and buy, I don't know, Stella McCartney? Because I'm not being biased. Like, I love Nigerian brands, but that's how the consumer thinks. When a consumer sees a new brand and it's kind of at that level of a well-known brand, automatically it clicks in your head. You're like, why am I paying that?
Remember the conversation when I said that, who are you? Like, who remembers that when I said that, how dare you? Like, why would you think? Yeah. That's where I was going to. I'm like, you have not been in the game
long enough.
That long.
No.
For you, even with me, I always say it, even with all the hype or the press, I do not care if I'm in Vogue. Please come and buy.
Yes.
I do
no,
not
because
care.
it's true. For all the Vogues that we've been in, it's not reflecting anywhere.
It's not. So
that's just something that's just going to go on your ledge, or you're going to.
Yes,
I mean,
it's good.
It's like grease to your elbows. Like, yeah, well done, clap for
Well
yourself.
done.
But
then you don't have a car.
That's not enough. Exactly.
It's not.
You're in Vogue, but you don't have a car. And I'm sorry, there are a couple of them that don't have cars and they're in Vogue.
No, but this is the reality, and this is what Accelerate Fashion Talks. We want to be able to tell you the truth. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not, like even with me, don't get me wrong, as a brand, I first came in because I'm all creative and I'm all, right now a shirt is a shirt, oh. You guys, if you see the next collection, you'll be like, Isioma will be like, Tokyo, is this you? I'm like, darling, my bank needs money. No more mesh tops.
It goes back. It goes back to the same point of utility, I feel, and quality and price point. You give any consumer that mix, they will buy.
Of
right?
course.
You give them that mix, they will buy. So
at the end of
as
the
you
day,
guys,
they're not assets.
Thank
Your
you very
clothes
much.
aren't assets. So quite frankly, hey, people don't have to have them.
Of course.
They don't.
And that's a really good point.
They
like
don't
if
to have them.
If we keep it in the back of our minds that, as you said, that people don't have to have them. And we are in the digital age. Forever, I did a search the other day. This is just talking about magazines. You do it. Go on Google or something and think of a name and put magazine behind it. I promise you it exists. Yep. It literally exists. Even your name as a brand, your name, put Diola, you will find it. Is it I'm going to give you a secret. My government name is Oladele. Put Oladele. I promise you, you will find it. That is a designer. So there are options. The consumer,
has options.
Has options. So who are you to come and charge that amount of money when you've not been in the game for that long?
Can I say something here? There's a way to cheat the system, right? Maybe the word is not cheat, but the play there is brand equity, right? And brand storytelling, right? You could kick off a brand tomorrow with the right brand story and sell a top for $150, $200. The question is, what is the story? And will the consumer buy into it, right? You have brands that started 5 years ago that are more valuable in terms of market value than brands that have been around for 100 years. True. And that's a question of just brand storytelling and how quickly they can get the consumer base to buy into the product they're selling. Right, so my thought is that when it comes to you thinking about price point and I guess thinking about your overhead costs and what it actually takes to make an item, a big factor in terms of your computation has to be who's the audience I'm selling to and what's my brand story and do they believe it? Is it authentic? Because if it is, you'd be surprised, right? That you just got into the game, but you're actually competing with the guys who are, and that's just because you have a dope-ass story. Right? Course. So my thought is that just take your time to really craft as to why am I doing this? What's the what's the vision for this, and why would people buy into it? Why would people buy into it, and am I being authentic in the story I tell? Because if you're not authentic, you wouldn't last, because you have to fake it long term. So you have to be yourself, and with yourself, you have sustainability, because that's going to last.
My name is Oscar. You don't enter Ninja Matrix. If you press this button, you go subscribe. If you press this button, you go watch another video. Which one you want to do?